All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to learn about public speaking. I am so excited today to interview Mr. Hallstrom, an extraordinary teacher who teaches English, my dear colleague right now, and just a great friend to me. Fun fact, Mr. Hallstrom was my English teacher twice in high school. I was so lucky. And also club advisor. It was through his class that I truly believe that I began to grow and really learn what public speaking was all about. So today you are learning from the guru himself, Mr. Hallstrom. How are we doing today?
Doing great, Philip. Good to see you.
Good to see you. All right, so here we go. So we got a few questions here for you. Number one, okay. I'm most interested in kind of what was your personal story with public speaking, and just how did you personally become such a great public speaker?
Well, first of all, thank you very, very much for even inviting me to talk about this topic. I do not consider myself a guru. I consider myself an experienced public speaker. Let's just put it that way. But I'm so happy to share my insights with you and with everybody else who may be listening. My journey as a public speaker definitely did not begin in high school. I was the stereotypical student who the teacher would look around the room and ask for volunteers, and I would look at the desk or I'd look up at the sky. It was the last thing in the world that I wanted to do. And when I got to UCLA and when I was a freshman, I actually realized how woefully underprepared I was to compete at that particular environment. I took a public speaking class, and it changed my life. I went into this class. There were 30 other students. It's one of the smallest classes that I ever took at UCLA. And the best thing that ever happened, the other 29 students in the classroom were all football players. I actually watched these guys. I knew them by name. I watched them on Saturdays and games, and then I had class with them on Mondays and Wednesdays. But the teacher in that class really took an interest in me, and that's really kind of where it started. That was the very first time that I had ever had like a one-on-one conversation with a teacher. I'd have lunch with her, and she would really give me some tips and some advice on public speaking. I would take what she offered and I would put it into practice the next class period, and then she would offer me feedback, and then I'd put it into class. And slowly but surely, I actually got better and better and better. It's the class that really changed things for me.
Wow, that's awesome. So for everyone who's listening right now, obviously they're interested, and in a moment he's going to share some great tips for you to improve. But let's go back a bit. So first off, can you answer just why do you believe public speaking is so useful for everybody in life? So why should someone be interested in learning more on how to become a better public speaker?
Yeah, everybody has ideas. Everybody has thoughts. Everybody has things that are important to them. And if you don't respect your own ideas enough to share those with other people, honestly, you might as well not have them anyway. It's about self-respect. It is inevitable that you are going to be in some situation, whether it be school or work or in your personal life, where someone's going to ask you why or how, and they're going to divert their attention to you, and they're hoping that you have the insight, the fortitude, the ability to explain what it is that's going on in your mind. And you owe it to yourself to share those insights with other people. You have to be ready to communicate what's important to you. And there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. And it's really, really important that students learn the right way. And that's the reason why I want to give them so many opportunities to share what's on their mind, to share what they've learned.
Wow, love it. Wow. So how do you do it? As an English teacher, how do you teach public speaking in your class?
You scaffold it. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. And for those of you not familiar with teaching language, scaffolding just simply means, just like scaffolding on a building that helps you reach greater heights, it's the exact same thing in the classroom. You start off with very easy opportunities. I've always offered participation points in my classroom, something that I encourage students to, well, in these days, right, unmute their microphone and to be able to speak up. But in pre-pandemic times, to raise their hand, and I keep track of all of it. And students then know that what they say is valued, even if it's tally marks on a paper. Then the first assignment will be 60 seconds. And then the next assignment will be 90 seconds. And then the next assignment, maybe 2 minutes. And maybe for the 2-minute assignment, you can't use a podium anymore. Maybe you actually have to walk through the classroom and get comfortable in your own skin and invite people to kind of follow along with you and decide what you want to do with your hands. And are you going to use a piece of paper or are you going to use note cards? The next assignment may be a little bit longer. It may be your choice of topic. So you really have to talk about something important to you. But much like happened to me when I was at UCLA, the assignments get longer. Yeah. The requirements become a little bit more intricate, and it's all about building your confidence.
Love that. Love that. So for someone who's listening right now, what would be your best advice to them to improve their public speaking today?
You got to conquer the fear. You have to. It's said that there are some people in our society who are more afraid of public speaking than death. They would literally rather die than speak in front of someone else. You have to conquer the fear. And if my advice is at all worth taking, please remember what I said. You have important ideas. There are things that could be of value to other people who are listening to you. And if you're too afraid to share these, if you don't have enough respect for yourself to share those with other people, they're not going to be heard. Conquer the fear, start slow, find people that you trust. And even if it's through Zoom, even if it's family members, even if it's the dog, find somebody who's a captive audience who would take the time to listen to you and ideally be able to offer you some feedback.
Wow, that's really interesting. Conquering the fear. I love that. How about confidence? All right. So if someone wants to grow in their confidence, what's your best advice to help a student build their confidence in public speaking?
Confidence is everything. And confidence is what I was missing when I was in high school. I didn't realize that at the time. And I think a lot of students in my classes, I think a lot of students at any age, in any school, are wondering that same thing. They don't realize that they lack the confidence in their own voice and in their own message to do it. They have to be ready to build that confidence. They have to be ready to take that step forward and realize that the only way to get confidence is to practice confidence. Yes. Find somebody that you trust. That's the advice, I think, and the willingness to build the confidence go hand in hand. Find somebody that you trust who's going to give you honest feedback. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, my mom would very, very often be the person who I would turn to. And now I realize I love my mom, but I realized that was a huge mistake because she was always going to say like, "Oh, honey, oh, that was so good. That was so good." My dad was the person who really helped me because he's the one who would say, "Hey, you need more eye contact. Hey, don't fumble over your words. Hey, replace this phrase with another phrase. Hey, you're repeating yourself." You've got to find somebody who you trust to give you honest feedback, and that will build your confidence going into situations with strangers.
Thank you, Mr. Hallstrom, for really
you got it.
And your and just everything. Thanks for being like the role model that you are in terms of teaching and just all that you give on a daily basis. You encourage me, and I'm just so So I've learned so much from your class and just hearing you speak. So whoever's listening right now, I really hope that you've gotten something from this. Mr. Hallstrom is always a great resource as well. So if you ever need him, he's there for you. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody.